Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Before we get started today, please take a sec to like this video and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future deep dives. Today, we're going deep on a topic that's super important if you want to really understand how India works.
Yeah, definitely.
We're talking about civil societies and good governance.
Exactly. And whether you're studying for the UPSC exams or just curious about how things work, this is a deep dive that's really going to make you think.
I think so too.
Mm.
Okay, so imagine you're hanging out, at a chai stall, having a chat with your neighbors about how to improve things in your community.
Mm-hmm.
You're not sitting around waiting for the government to fix everything.
Yeah.
You're actually brainstorming solutions and ready to take action yourselves.
Right.
That energy, that spirit of collective action, that's what civil society is all about.
That's a great way to put it. It's that drive to make things better that's at the heart of a strong civil society.
And in India, this goes way back, you know?
Mm.
Think about Gandhi's ideas of satyagraha and Swaraj, self-reliance and peaceful resistance.
Exactly. Those ideas are woven into the fabric of Indian society, and they continue to shape the way civil society operates today.
It's amazing how those historical threads connect to the present. But before we go any further, let's make sure we're all on the same page. We're talking about civil society, which is much broader than just NGOs.
Right. NGOs are a big part of it for sure, but civil society encompasses so much more. It's a whole ecosystem.
It is. The World Bank defines civil society as organizations, community groups, NGOs, labor unions, indigenous groups, charitable organizations, faith-based organizations, professional associations, and foundations. So many different players.
So many, and each with their own unique role to play in shaping a better society.
So we've got this vibrant mix of groups all working outside the government. What makes them so crucial for good governance?
Well, they're kind of like the guardians of good governance, you know? They help ensure transparency, effectiveness, openness, responsiveness, and most importantly, accountability. They keep things in check.
So it's not just about criticizing the government.
No, not at all. It's about constructive engagement. They analyze policies, they monitor government programs, and they make sure that those in power are actually serving the people.
It's like a system of checks and balances, making sure that power doesn't become too concentrated.
Exactly. And it's also about building something positive, something we call social capital.
Okay, so what's that all about? Social capital.
Think of it like this. Imagine a community where people trust each other, where they're willing to work together to solve problems, where everyone feels responsible for the well-being of the community. That's social capital.
Got it. So civil society is all about strengthening those bonds between people,
Yeah.
building trust and cooperation.
Exactly. And they do this in so many ways. They bring people together around shared interests, they facilitate dialogue, they empower individuals to take charge of their communities.
So it's not just about fixing problems, it's about creating a more connected and engaged society.
That's a great way to put it. It's about building a society where everyone feels empowered to make a difference.
Okay, so we've talked about the history of civil society and its role in promoting good governance. But how do we make sense of all the different types of organizations out there? It's a pretty vast landscape.
It is, but luckily the Second Administrative Reforms Commission, or ARC, came up with a helpful framework. They categorize civil societies into a bunch of different types.
Well, that's interesting. Like what?
So we've got your registered societies, your charitable organizations, local stakeholder groups, professional bodies, and even some government-promoted third sector organizations.
It sounds like a pretty diverse bunch.
It is. And it's not just a free-for-all either.
Mhm.
In 2007, the government introduced the National Policy on the Voluntary Sector.
I've heard of that. It was a pretty big deal, right?
Definitely. It was a sign that the government recognized the importance of civil society and wanted to create a more supportive environment for these organizations.
So what does the policy actually do?
Well, it aims to simplify regulations, make fundraising easier, and encourage collaboration between the government and civil society organizations.
It's all about creating a partnership, right? Recognizing that the government can't do everything on its own.
Exactly. Civil society brings a lot to the table. They have expertise, they have grassroots connections, and they understand local needs better than anyone.
It's like having a whole army of advisors, advocates, and implementers all rolled into one.
Exactly. And that's especially important when it comes to inclusive development.
So how does civil society help ensure that development benefits everyone?
Well, they often work with marginalized communities. the ones who are excluded from mainstream development efforts. They act as a voice for the voiceless and make sure that everyone's needs are considered.
That's so important. And they do this through advocacy,
Right.
right? And by providing essential services.
Absolutely. They work tirelessly to empower communities and create a more equitable society.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part. We talked about the history, the principles, and the role of civil society in India.
We did, and we even touched upon some of the different types of organizations out there.
It's clear that civil societies play a vital role in shaping a more just, equitable, and sustainable future for India.
I completely agree. Their impact is felt in every corner of society.
But let's be honest, it's not always easy, right? They face their fair share of challenges.
Oh, definitely. From funding issues to bureaucratic hurdles and even suspicion from the government at times, it's an uphill battle sometimes.
And we can't forget about the importance of maintaining public trust. Transparency and accountability are crucial for any organization, but especially for those working in the public sphere.
Absolutely. It's a constant balancing act navigating these challenges while staying true to their mission.
So true. And that's just a glimpse of what we'll be exploring further in the upcoming parts of this deep dive. We'll be delving into specific examples of how civil societies are working on the ground, addressing issues like poverty, education, healthcare, and environmental protection.
It's going to be an eye-opening journey. We'll hear about the incredible work that's being done and the challenges that these organizations face.
Exactly. So make sure you stick around for parts 2 and 3 of our exploration of civil societies and good governance in India.
You won't want to miss it. We'll be back with more fascinating insights and inspiring stories.
And hey, while you're waiting for the next part, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the rest of the deep dive.
See you soon.
See you soon. Welcome back, deep divers. Ready for round 2 of our journey into Indian civil society. Last time we laid the groundwork, the history, the ideas, and that whole concept of social capital. But now let's get real. How does all of this actually play out in the real world?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Let's move beyond theory and dive into some concrete examples. Remember, social capital, it's not just a buzzword. It's the engine that drives meaningful change.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
So how does it actually work in practice? Give us a story. Paint us a picture.
All right, so picture this, a remote village in Rajasthan struggling with water scarcity. For generations, women have been spending hours every day just walking miles to fetch water.
Yeah.
It's a huge burden.
I can imagine.
So a local NGO comes in, and they're not just there to throw money at the problem. They're working with the community to find solutions.
Oh, that's interesting. What do they do?
They help set up these women-led self-help groups, providing training on water conservation, rainwater harvesting, even microfinance to build small-scale irrigation systems.
So it's about empowering the community to solve its own problems.
Exactly. And the amazing thing is how this process strengthens the social fabric. Women gain leadership skills, trust and cooperation grow, and the entire community benefits from a more reliable water supply. That's social capital in action, making a tangible difference in people's lives.
That's a really powerful example. And it shows how civil societies often step in to fill those gaps where government services might be lacking or slow to reach.
Absolutely. Think about healthcare, for instance. In remote areas, access to quality medical care can be a huge challenge.
It is. I've seen it myself.
So civil society organizations are stepping up. They're running mobile clinics, training community health workers, and even using technology like telemedicine to connect people with specialists in urban centers.
So they're basically expanding the reach of healthcare, breaking down geographical barriers.
Precisely. And it's not just about providing services, they're also advocating for policy changes to improve the system as a whole.
Right. They're pushing for better healthcare for everyone.
Exactly. They're the voice of the people, making sure that healthcare is a right, not a privilege. And remember those 5 pillars of good governance we talked about? Accountability is key.
Right. They're keeping an eye on things.
They're monitoring government programs, scrutinizing budgets, and speaking out against corruption. They're making sure that those in power are actually serving the people.
It's like having a whole network of watchdogs, making sure that everything runs smoothly.
That's a great analogy. And it's not just about confrontation either.
Wow.
Remember the national policy on the voluntary sector? It emphasizes collaboration between the government and civil society.
Yeah, it's about working together to find solutions.
Exactly. Take education, for example. We have this massive challenge of providing quality education to all children, especially in rural areas. Civil societies are running innovative schools, training teachers, developing educational materials, and working hand in hand with government agencies to improve the system.
So it's a multi-pronged approach. They're filling gaps, building capacity and influencing policy.
You got it. And this collaborative spirit is also evident in their work on environmental protection.
Oh, definitely. That's a huge issue in India.
It is. Pollution, deforestation, climate change, you name it. Civil societies are right there on the front lines, planting trees, cleaning up rivers, raising awareness about sustainable practices, and pushing for stronger environmental regulations.
It's like they're the guardians of our planet, fighting to protect it for future generations.
I love that. They're the ones sounding the alarm and mobilizing people to take action. It's really inspiring to see the breadth and depth of their work.
It is. But it can't all be smooth sailing, right? What are some of the roadblocks they encounter?
Well, one of the biggest hurdles is funding. Many organizations rely heavily on grants and donations, which can be unpredictable and often come with strings attached.
It must be tough to constantly worry about where the next dollar is coming from.
It is. And then there's the whole bureaucratic maze. Registering an NGO, complying with regulations, navigating the world of government funding, it can be a real headache, especially for smaller organizations.
So there's a lot of red tape to cut through.
You said it. And
Yeah.
sometimes there's even suspicion or hostility from the government organizations that are critical of government policies or actions, might face scrutiny, harassment, or even legal trouble.
That's a bit worrying. It sounds like finding that balance between collaboration and holding the government accountable can be tricky.
It definitely requires a delicate touch. And then there's the challenge of maintaining public trust. Just like any other sector, there can be cases of mismanagement, corruption, or lack of transparency within civil society organizations.
Yeah, those instances can really damage the reputation of the entire sector.
Absolutely. That's why transparency and accountability are so crucial. Organizations need to be open about their finances, their activities, and their impact. They need to show the public that they can be trusted.
So it's a constant balancing act, navigating these challenges while staying true to their mission.
Exactly. It's not easy work, but it's incredibly important work. And despite these obstacles, civil societies in India continue to play a vital role in building a more just, equitable, and sustainable future.
It's clear that they're essential for a healthy democracy, acting as watchdogs, advocates, service providers, and partners in progress. And as we've seen through these real-world examples, their impact is felt in every corner of Indian society.
Absolutely. They're the ones driving positive change at the grassroots level.
And it's not just about traditional methods either. Technology is playing an increasingly important role in the world of civil society.
Oh, definitely. Technology is a game changer. It's allowing them to connect with more people, mobilize support, and amplify their impact.
And that brings us to the next chapter of our deep dive. In part 3, we'll explore how technology is transforming the landscape of civil society in India, from online fundraising and social media campaigns to the use of data analytics and artificial intelligence.
It's a fascinating frontier full of possibilities and challenges alike. So buckle up and get ready for the final leg of our journey into the digital realm of civil society in India.
Our deep divers, welcome back. Remember that chai stall conversation we were imagining in part 1? Well, these days that conversation might be happening online, connecting people across cities, states, even countries.
It really is amazing to see how technology has become such a powerful tool for civil society. It's like a megaphone and a toolkit all in one.
Exactly. Social media lets them spread their message, rally support, and even raise funds with just a few clicks. It's incredible.
It's like activism on steroids. And it's not just about reaching a wider audience, it's about engaging people in new and innovative ways. You see all these online petitions, viral campaigns, crowdfunding initiatives. It's all powered by technology.
It's like giving a voice to those who might not have been heard before.
Exactly. Let's say you have an environmental NGO that's trying to protect a forest from being cleared. They can use satellite imagery and mapping tools to actually document the deforestation, share that evidence online, mobilize public pressure, and even connect with international organizations for support.
Wow, so they can really leverage technology to level the playing field.
Exactly. And it's not just about raising awareness. Technology can also help civil societies provide services more efficiently.
Bro, how so?
Well, think about a healthcare NGO using telemedicine to provide consultations to people in remote villages. Or an educational organization offering online courses to underserved communities. Technology is breaking down those barriers, bridging the gap between urban and rural, rich and poor.
It's like they have a much wider reach now.
That's right. And it's not just about connecting people. Technology also helps civil societies manage data, track their impact, and even predict future trends.
Oh, wow, you're talking about data analytics, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Organizations can now gather information about the communities they serve, analyze that data to identify needs and patterns, and then tailor their programs for maximum impact.
So it's about using data to make smarter decisions and achieve better results.
Precisely. And then there's the whole world of artificial intelligence that's emerging. It's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, AI seems to be everywhere these days.
Yeah.
What role does it play in civil society?
Well, AI can help automate tasks, personalize learning experiences, and even predict potential disasters like floods or droughts, allowing civil societies to respond more effectively.
Wow, it's like having a superpowered assistant.
You could say that. It frees up human resources to focus on more strategic tasks. But of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. This digital revolution comes with its own set of challenges.
Right, like what?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is the digital divide. Not everyone has access to technology or the skills to use it effectively. So we need to bridge that gap, make sure no one is left behind in this digital transformation.
You're talking about digital inclusion, right?
Right.
Making sure that everyone benefits from these advancements.
Exactly. And then there's the whole issue of data privacy and security. Civil societies often work with sensitive information, so protecting that data is paramount.
Yeah, cybersecurity is a huge concern these days.
It is. Organizations need to invest in robust security measures, train their staff, and educate their communities about online safety. It's an ongoing battle.
And we can't forget about the dark side of the internet. All that misinformation, fake news, hate speech, it's out there. And it can really undermine the work of civil society.
That's a really important point. Civil societies need to be savvy about navigating this complex online landscape. They need to develop media literacy skills, partner with fact-checking organizations, and use their platforms to promote accurate information.
It sounds like a lot to juggle.
It is.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the potential of technology outweighs the risks. In the hands of civil society, it can be a powerful force for good.
I agree. It's exciting to witness this digital transformation. And for those of you listening, especially if you're preparing for the UPSC exams, understanding this relationship between civil society and technology is critical.
It's not just about memorizing facts. It's about understanding the trends that are shaping India's future.
It's about connecting the dots, seeing the bigger picture, and understanding how these forces are shaping the world around us.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into civil societies and good governance in India. We hope this exploration has been informative and thought-provoking.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends.
And remember, keep those brains buzzing and those conversations flowing. Until next time.
See you then.